Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to present Improving Your Performance, Understanding Credential Attainment and Procedures. This session will provide you with valuable insights and strategies for understanding how credential attainment is measured under WIOA. Our goal is to equip you with the tools to design plans that will provide program outcomes and participant success in employment and post-secondary education. Let's dive in and explore how we can help our participants thrive through thoughtful planning and strategic support. By the end of this session, you will be able to understand the role of credential attainment in WIOA performance metrics. Identify tools to determine eligible and in-demand credentials that meet WIOA standards. Integrate credential strategies into career and training services. Utilize the high demand checklist to align credentials with regional demand. Improve data entry and documentation practices for credential outcomes in performance reporting. Why do we have performance indicators? The WIOA performance indicators established under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act program exist to measure the effectiveness of workforce development programs and ensure accountability, transparency, and continuous improvement. These indicators help ensure that states, local areas, and service providers are held accountable for delivering meaningful outcomes to job seekers, workers, and employers. Performance data provides insight into what's working and what's not. It helps programs identify areas for improvement, allocate resources wisely, and adopt best practices. The indicators are designed to show whether WIOA funded programs are actually helping people get jobs, keep them, and earn more. This includes serving youth, adults, dislocated workers, and individuals with barriers to employment. Although WIOA has six primary performance indicators that are used to assess the effectiveness of its programs, majority of local workforce development areas often face several challenges with the credential attainment measure. Inability to meet this measure can limit both the effectiveness of training programs and their ability to meet federal performance metrics. Our goal with this presentation is to identify the key challenges and practical solutions aligned to improve WIOA performance metrics for credential attainment. To understand credential attainment, we must first define what is a credential. Under WIA, a recognized post-secondary credential is defined as an industry-recognized certificate or certification, a certificate of apprenticeship completion, a license recognized by the state or federal government, or an associate, bachelor's, or graduate degree. These credentials signify that an individual has attained measurable technical or industry occupational skills necessary for employment or advancement within a specific field. WIOA recognized industry credentials or certifications, licenses, or educational credentials that are portable, recognized across multiple employers or industries, are stackable, can build on each other for career advancement, or lead to in-demand occupations or industries. They are also recognized and validated by employers. Examples of post-secondary credentials are an industry recognized certification, typically developed or endorsed by industry associations or employers. An apprenticeship certification issued upon completion of a registered apprenticeship program. Occupational license issued by state or federal licensing boards and are required by law to work in certain professions. An associate or bachelor's degree aligned with career pathways in a high demand career field. Types of secondary credentials. A secondary credential generally refers to an educational qualification that signifies completion of secondary education or high school or equivalent. These credentials are essential for WIA participants aiming to access further training, post secondary education, or employment. Types of secondary credentials under WIA are high school diploma, which is issued by a state accredited high school or school district, recognized as completion of a traditional secondary education. General Education Development, GED, a widely recognized high school equivalency certificate which demonstrates high school level academic skills. High School Equivalency Test HiSETs is an alternative to the GED, recognized in many states. Covers 5 core areas: reading, writing, math, science, and social studies. NWIA performance indicators, particularly the measurable skills gains, MSG, and credential attainment rate, secondary credentials are reported when a participant completes secondary education and, if applicable, they enter post-secondary education or training or employment. What is not considered a credential? A credential is typically recognized as a verification of an individual's qualification or competence in a specific skill or set of skills. It usually includes diplomas, degrees, licenses, and certifications that are recognized by industry, employers, or government agency. According to WIA, the following are not considered credentials: certificate of attendance or completion. These are given simply for showing up or finishing a course without demonstrating proficiency or competency. Work readiness certificates. While they may demonstrate basic employability skills, they are not considered credentials unless tied to industry recognized standards. In-house training certificates, not recognized outside the organization. If a certificate is only recognized within a single company and not industry wide, it does not qualify. Informal learning. Online courses like Coursera or edX might provide valuable learning, but unless they result in a recognized industry certification or degree, they are not WIA recognized credentials. What is credential attainment? Credential attainment is one of the 6 performance indicators that measure the percentage of program participants who were enrolled in an education or training program and earned a recognized post-secondary credential or secondary school diploma or equivalent like a high school diploma or GED within 1 year after exiting the program. Under WIA, the credential attainment measure focused on a specific group of participants and credentials. Any participant who exited while enrolled in qualifying secondary or post-secondary training is included in the credential attainment metric. Success means earning a credential or diploma equivalent plus satisfying the special rule within the measurement time frame. Participants enrolled in education and or training are included in the indicator if one or more of these activities are active. Please remember to close the activity tab once the participant has completed training or you have been notified the participant is no longer active. Remember, you have 1 year after exit to attain the credential. How is credential attainment measured? It's measured by the total number of participants who exited during the reporting period that were in an education or training program, excluding OJT and customized training, and who attained a recognized post-secondary credential during the program or within 1 year after exit, plus the number of participants who exited that were in a secondary education program and who attained a secondary education diploma or its equivalent during the program or within 1 year after exit, and who were also employed or enrolled in an education or training program leading to a recognized post-secondary credential within 1 year after exit. Now let's look at how to document the credential in WorkSource Georgia portal. Under Manage Individuals, click on Assist an Individual and search for your customer. Next, click on the Programs tab. When you are on the Programs tab, scroll down to the WIA application and click on the plus sign to expand the application tabs. Once the application has been expanded, scroll down toward the middle of the page and click on the plus sign for the credentials bar. Scroll down to the credential information section. Complete all the fields as follows. Select the credential received. Under Other Credential, specify what entity issued the credential and the name of the credential. Select the appropriate verification documentation used to verify the credential. Enter the date the credential was attained under Date Credential Received. When entering the date received, please enter the date on the credential of when the participant earned the credential. Please do not enter the date the credential was received from the participant. For example, if the participant graduation date was May 25th, 2025, but staff did not receive the credential until July 7th, 2025, you would enter the May 25th date. Last is the associate to training activity that is a required field. Click on Search Activities to select the WIA training service. Select the specific training course from the results in the search. Once all information is entered and the credential is associated with the correct training, click Save to add it to the participant's application. The next three slides are the credential attainment indicators for Program 23. Let's look at PY23 Youth Credential Attainment for the state. There were 798 participants in the numerator and 1,242 in the denominator. The goal for the state was 67.8%, but the actual goal is 64.25%. 94.77% of the goal was achieved. The yellow highlights that we were between 90 and 100% of the goal. Next is PY23 Adult Credential Attainment for the state. There were 1,568 participants in the numerator and 2,172 in the denominator. The goal for the state was 76.6%, but the actual goal is 72.19%. 95.49% of the goal was achieved for the adult credential measure. Last is PY23, Dislocated Worker Credential Attainment for the state. There were 388 participants in the numerator and 541 in the denominator. The goal for the state was 75%, but the actual goal is 71.72%. 94.37% of the goal was achieved. Now let's look at strategies and tools to improve these numbers for the upcoming program years. Improving credential attainment, whether it's high school diplomas, college degrees, industry certifications, or other recognized qualifications, requires coordinated strategies across education, workforce development, and support services. One way to improve credential attainment is to look at career pathway guidance. It helps learners understand which credentials align with job opportunities and wages in their region. Another is employer and workforce partnership. Encourage employers to subsidize or offer training programs that lead to credentials. Align credential offerings with regional labor market demands to improve value and employment outcomes. Monitor credential tracking by using data to identify where students drop out or stall and redesign the programs accordingly. Provide proactive, intrusive advising to keep students on track and help navigate barriers. Offer support for housing, food, transportation, mental health, and childcare to reduce dropout risk. Also, design programs that allow learners to earn short-term credentials that build toward higher level degrees. Using your state's high demand career list effectively for credential attainment means aligning your education and training goals with careers that are most needed in your region. Use the list to match careers to credentials. Which credentials, certificate, degrees, licenses are required for each occupation? What is the level of education needed? Are stackable credentials available, whether short-term or long-term? Lastly, find approved training providers on the eligible trainer provider list. The living wage is the minimum income necessary for a worker to meet their basic needs, such as housing, food, healthcare, transportation, without public or private assistance. Using the living wage calculation for credential attainment involves aligning educational and training goals with income thresholds that reflect what individuals need to earn to support themselves and possibly their families in a specific geographic area. To help a participant become self-sufficient, you should identify the living wage for your area. This gives you a target annual or hourly wage that people need to earn to be economically self-sufficient. Use labor market data to identify how various credentials, such as certificates, associate's degrees, industry certifications, correlate with job titles, average starting wages, and wage progression over time. Compare these wages from credentials to the living wage. For example, if the living wage in Georgia for a single adult with one child is $37 an hour, and a medical assistant certificate leads to jobs starting at $19 an hour, that credential alone does not meet the living wage. You might then recommend stackable credentials, encourage pathways to higher paying roles such as a registered nurse, or adjust career advising or funding opportunities. Another strategy is to utilize the tool designed by the Department of Labor, Employment and Training Administration to assist local workforce areas in making determinations about whether individual credentials count toward WIOA credential attainment. If you're involved in WIOA funded training or credentialing efforts, this tool is essential for ensuring the programs offered are tracking and count toward DOL required performance measures. By walking through its structural questions and aligning with federal guidance, you can verify whether specific credentials qualify as post-secondary credentials under WIOA. Get started by answering the questions below, using the drop-down list provided to determine which credentials count as a WIOA recognized post-secondary credential in the Credential Attainment Performance Indicator. What type of organization or institution is offering the training program? What type of credential is it? What type of skills does it attest to? Based on the inputs, the tool will determine if the credential is industry recognizable. In conclusion, credential attainment is critical for personal success, professional development, and building a competitive, adaptable workforce. Credentials such as degrees, certificates, or professional license often serve as gateways to employment. Many employers require specific credentials to ensure that candidates meet minimum qualifications and possess necessary skills. Statistically, individuals with higher levels of education attainment tend to earn more over their lifetime. Credentials act as signals of knowledge, skills, and readiness. They show that a person has undergone training, passed assessments, and met specific standards. People with credentials often enjoy greater job security and more advancement opportunities.